Hey guys, welcome back. So in today's video, this will be the second week of the 3.15 Expedition League Meta Report. And yeah, let's just head right into it. So as usual, I will talk about the top 5 most played class first, including a breakdown of 3 of their most popular skills, and then followed by the top 5 most played skills, be it what class is there, and then I will finish off by giving my own take or thoughts about the current state of the meta. So the top 5 most played class, first we have Necromancer, no change. And then second we have Gladiator now, so Gladiator has taken the second spot, which was Raider previously, and Raider has now dropped into third placing, followed by Hierophant, which has no change also, and the fifth Ascendant has actually came in. Saboteur is dropping, but actually Saboteur and Ascendant are very close together. They are both actually sitting at 6%, but I assume that 0.few% is the difference. Okay, so as you can see from the percentage statistics, Raider has dropped. I wouldn't want to say Necromancer because there is still a majority of people playing it. Gladiator has rose because Spectral Shield Throw is really popular. It's easy to play and it's easy to build up. You can see progression along the way very easily. Okay, so comparing from previous week on the first week of 3.15. Like I mentioned, Gladiator has become very popular with the Bleeding Spectral Shield Throw. I think it's just generally good in all areas. It is very beginner friendly. It's very easy to use. It has very high mobility as well. And yeah, it's just a good all-rounder, okay? And then Ascendant and Saboteur, like I mentioned, has a very pretty close competition. They are both sitting at 6%. I did not show here the Saboteur class, but it's also at 6%. Okay, so apart from that, really nothing much has changed. Okay, so for the Necromancer, the top 3 most played skills, I think first one there is no question asked is the Race Spectre. So mainly they are using the Syndicate Operatives due to good map clear speed as well as single target. I think those of you that have played it is you will know it's just stupidly good, okay? And then the lots of builds are still running the cold conversion type that uses the triad grip, but I'm actually seeing more builds slowly changing or converting into the physical type. Like there is no conversion. The Spectres, the Syndicate Operatives are just using the physical damage from there onwards. And I'm slowly seeing like more builds building towards aura stacking, so it's quite interesting. Aura stacking Spectre, which is actually what I'm currently building now also, but we'll have to see how it goes, okay? And next, second, we have the Summon Skeletons. So Summon Skeletons is still going very strong. Most of the builds are using the Skeleton Mages now. There is no variation, it's just upright, or almost, or I will say more than 90% are Skeleton Mages. And most of the builds are also using the Flesh Crafter unique body armor now. Okay, lastly, it's still one of the cheapest builds to gear up, okay, with a good amount of damage and very little investment. Like, you can even go on a low budget build and it can still perform very well, both in map clear. I think actually in bossing also is very good because of all the projectiles. They use spell echo as well, so that your skeleton mages can shoot double the amount. Okay, third is still Race Zombie. It is the same. There are actually quite a lot of build variations for this. However, majority of them are still utilizing both the Baron and Efficient Training. It is more or less like their core item because this is a strength stacking build. As you can see from the Baron, the unique item, with at least 1000 strength, 1.83% of damage dealt by your zombies is leashed to you as life. So because of this, right, the build is just crazy tanky. Like there is hardly any way you can die unless you either get one shot. Otherwise, you just regen your life back to full, like in a matter of 1 or 2 seconds. Yeah, the build is just very, very tanky. It's either you get one shot or you just see your HP go back to full. Yeah, it's a very good tanky build for those of you that are trying to learn some of the mechanics. Okay, on to Gladiator topmost played skills. So as you can see from the numbers here, right, the Spectral shield throw is just way off above every other skill. So I'm only going to talk about the Spectral shield throw like previous video because it's just too on top of the chart. Okay, there's really nobody else playing any other build for Gladiator, except probably some that are still trying with the Shield Crush and the Cyclone. I think is the Face Breaker one, the unarmed version. Yeah. Okay, so Spectral Shield Throw. This is definitely a bleed build to maximize your damage output. It's just generally very easy to play because it's just good in all areas. It's good in mapping. It has like an inbuilt chain. It has multiple projectiles, and then for bossing also is good because you can just kite the boss around, like throw your shield and then dodge the mechanics. Shield charge is a very good movement skill. If not, probably I think it's like the best movement skill in the whole entire game. And the core item for this build is definitely the Lion's Eye Vision because it just gives the extra level 15 pierce, and then all your Spectral shield throw can just pierce all the monsters and it will start chaining all of them in all the packs. So yeah, I did not really actually play this build, so I can't really comment much. But I will say actually from what I see in the videos, it is really generally very good for beginners as well. Okay, and now on to Raider. So Raider, first we have Toxic Rain. I think this is still quite meta because it is I will say it's probably one of the best mappers now because they are stacking AoE onto the Toxic Rain. Yeah, because of the large amount of AoE and the multiple projectiles, it is a very good mapper. Okay, and the endgame rare bow is also actually relatively easy to craft. I think for those of you that have watched Matthew's video, he actually showed how to craft the endgame Toxic Rain or Caustic Arrow bow. It is really quite easy. Okay, so there's really not much investment to craft a end game rare bow, and that is why I think there are still people out there that are playing this Toxic Rain build because it can accomplish a lot of stuffs. Okay, and yeah, the core item for this build is Carcass Jack because they just want more area of effect and more area damage instead of going for more chaos damage. They are stacking a lot of area modifiers now. Area of effect, area damage. Okay, second, we have Spectral shield throw. So this is something new that is uprising from the Raider. It is definitely different from the Gladiator because the Raider Spectral shield throw uses elemental damage instead of bleed. So according to what I see for most builds, most of them are utilizing the cold damage because cold damage is just probably the best, right? It gives you chill and freeze and stuff like that. So using the Raider Ascendancy just gives them a lot more speed as compared to the Gladiator. Gladiator is just slightly slower, but I think it's a little bit more tanky. I'm not sure, but I'm very sure that if you're using the Raider Ascendancy, it just gives speed because Raider is just all about going fast, very, very fast. Speed is everything in the Raider Ascendancy. And the core item is still Lion's Eye Vision for the extra pierce. I think this is just too good to give up. Yeah, with the Pierce, you can just clear packs of mob very, very fast, okay? However, for the bossing, I am not sure how to rate it, but I think you'll just be around A to S. It's the same for probably the gladiator also, but I have rated the gladiator higher because it has bleed. It's a dot damage over time, and definitely on bosses bleed is much better. Okay, number 3 we have Lightning Strike. I think Lightning Strike was mentioned previously, is also a uprising skill in this league. Something I think that not a lot of people is expecting, but is performing very well now. Yeah, the Lightning Strike skill is actually very good. And something to take note is that this build can get really very expensive in min-maxing, like I mentioned. It can go until up to probably a mirror now, the build. It is really, really very expensive. So in terms of damage, it scales a lot in your items as well as your skill gems. But I think more towards your item, because you more or less need the special unique helmet from Harvest. I think so. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, and second is this build just stack frenzy charges with the addition of feral fur just to give a lot of speed. Then again, this is a raider build, so everything is just speed, going fast. Okay, so the build is just very smooth and very fast. And some of you might think that this is like a glass cannon build because Lightning Strike is a melee skill, but I will say this is not really a glass cannon build because it has very high dodge and evasion, like definitely around your max cap for dodge 75%, and the evasion can probably reach until 80%, so it has quite a good layer of defense here. Okay, next is Hierophant's topmost plate skills. Then again, because like majority of the people are playing Forbidden Rite, I'm not even seeing any freezing pulse or elemental hit now. Like I think that there are some people actually playing the freezing pulse, but probably will just drop off soon. Okay, so I'm just gonna talk about Forbidden Rite. Okay, so Forbidden Rite is still in the list. It is the new skill. It is being hyped. It has very cool animations, colors, and whatsoever. Okay, and 99% of them I will say are the self-curse totem builds because the damage stacking on self-curse is just too good. It is something that none of the players should ignore. It's just a very cheap way of stacking damage if you were to ask me. Okay, and this build is honestly not a super good mapper because the projectiles are kind of slow, but it is definitely a very strong bosser. Okay, you can see all the projectiles just explode in one spot on the boss, and it is not just 1 or 2 projectiles, but I think there is like 8 projectiles around there. So each time a totem shoot is about 8 projectiles, and if you have 4 totem, that is 32 projectiles already. Can you imagine 32 projectiles shooting onto the boss like every second? That is why it is such a good bosser. I will even label this as rating as SSS if I've actually played it, I think. Yeah, but in terms of map clear, I think it's just really bad. I think even my Karen Golem can do better than this. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, next is the Ascendant topmost plate skills. So I do not have much information on the Eye of Winter and Exsanguinate. I am assuming like the reason why this class has actually rose is because of aura stacking. More and more people are playing aura stacking now because aura stacking is not really affected at all, right? Yeah. So the more common skills that they use are Spark. I think there are some other variations like Ethereal Knives or something like that, but more on it on Spark because they are using more lightning damage because of Nebulis and Call of the Brotherhood. Okay, so just want to briefly say Aura stacking has always been one of the most OP things in the game that never dies, okay? Even though there is like a very small amount of people playing aura stacking for every single league, but aura stacking has always been one of the strongest shit in the game. It's literally like an unkillable crazy machine that is walking around. Okay, the only problem is that aura stacking is very very expensive to start off. Like there is really no way you can start off a league start with aura stacking. There is no way. It is just too expensive. You can't even stack any auras, probably the most until like 5 or 6. So yeah, you probably need to play in groups for your friends to invest in your character first, and then carry them afterwards, carry them to the end game and start farming all the end game stuff. Otherwise, if you are playing as a solo player, you will struggle a lot in the early game. That is why you do not see any of the Ascendant aura stacking in the first week of the league. You probably will start to see it rising now. Now it's just the beginning of the third week, and people have already invested in quite. I mean, not invested. Have actually earned quite a lump sum of currency, and they are building towards aura stacking. So yeah, once you are geared up, you are more or less like Superman. You know, you are really unkillable unless you fight crazy bosses like the Feared. Yeah. Okay, and there are actually too many core items for the build. I'm not gonna list all of them down, but I will say the important ones are actually Call of the Brotherhood and Nebulis, which actually stacks the lightning damage. Okay, we are now going to talk about the top 5 most played skills. So there are some changes here and there. The first is Spectral Shield Throw. So Spectral Shield Throw has actually increased by 5%, as you can see from my statistic report on the right. It has gained a lot of popularity in the last week, okay? I'm not sure who is promoting it, but I think people are just wanting to try out new stuff. All the old builds are kind of boring because I think we all know that this league is actually very bad. It has actually gotten a little bit boring for some of us. Some of the players probably are not even playing this league. Okay, and second, we have Race Spectre still on the second of the list. There are actually no changes to it. Third is Forbidden Rite. So Forbidden Rite is increasing in popularity also. Like I mentioned, I think people are just finding new stuffs to play instead of all the old skills. And fourth is Toxic Rain. Toxic Rain is probably just still good as a starter. Some of the people are still farming with Toxic Rain. They probably started late or something like that. I'm not sure. And fifth, we actually have Caustic Arrow. So I think Caustic Arrow, most of it is paired up with Toxic Rain. So I'm not really sure if it's a good idea to include it in the list, but I'll just put it anyway, okay? So base summary, like I mentioned, Spectral Shield has seen a lot of plays. Race Spectre is still stagnant. Forbidden Rite is increasing. And Toxic Rain is starting to drop because it's just a good league starter to help you farm your initial stage item. Caustic Arrow combines with Toxic Rain. But something to take note here is that Ice Trap is no longer at the top of the list. Like, it is somewhere around 9th or 10th place. Like, it has really gone way down. Okay, I'm not sure why. It's probably because people are using traps and mine just to go to the end game bosses to farm for their second build. This is just what I think it is. I'm not sure, but yeah, Ice Trap has actually gotten downhill a lot. Okay, so the top 5 most played skills is being played by the classes right here. You can see the numbers are just very very extreme. It's either you play this class or you just don't play this skill at all. Okay, the only variation I see is probably Toxic Rain and Caustic Arrow. Like, these are the two skills that only has a few variations that you can try out here and there. But Other than that, the majority is just still way extreme, way above the others. Okay, so now it will be the conclusion and my take on the current state of meta 2 weeks in. So in terms of different builds and variation, I feel that the current state of meta is really boring, okay? The reason is very simple, because everybody is playing the same thing because of all the big nerfs. The nerfs have just given us such a huge impact that there are lots of builds that are not even viable now. It's not even close to any of the builds that you have seen. Like, it cannot even be compared to the current builds that you've seen. If you were to play, let's say, the physical build Cyclone from all the previous league, the damage is just so bad now that you are going to struggle a lot, even starting mid game onwards. Like, probably when you start off Cyclone last league, you will see that it's actually very easy to play. When you go towards red map, it is still okay, but in this league, if you're gonna play Cyclone physical build like the Impure ones or whatsoever, you are going to start to struggle even at yellow maps already. That is how bad it is, okay? And yeah, generally minion totems and damage over time builds are the best right now because they are the least affected by the huge nerfs from this patch. Okay, and like I mentioned in the previous slides, the majority of the skills that player use are just so concentrated into one class that there is little or no variation at all. Like I mentioned, it's either you play that class or you don't play that skill. There is just no competition in all the other ascendancy because they are like the best of the best. If you were to try and play other class, you'll probably just regret doing it. Okay, and then my question here is the league really dead? I would say no, because Expedition is kind of fun. It's a new thing that people can experiment on or play with for the meantime. Like, if you were to see my previous video, Expedition logbooks are just super profiting. Like, there is no way I can think of that a person can not profit for it unless you are doing the maps that I mentioned that you should not do, and or probably you just make a mistake and then detonate the remnants that you cannot do. Okay, so other than that, I think players are still playing for now, but my guessing is that this league will have a ending point much earlier than all the previous league. What that means is all the players will stop playing earlier and wait for the next patch. Like, now it's only the 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks in, and I can see that a lot of streamers and a lot of players are already getting bored. And this is bad. This is really bad for GG. Like, in terms of sales, marketing level and whatsoever, it is really bad because the new patch is fresh. It is still fresh. I mean, it's just 2 weeks in, it's still fresh, and people are already getting bored. Okay, so this is bad. But another thing I want to mention is that actually this is a good league to try all the meme or funny builds that you want, those that you always wanted to try but you did not have the time or you did not have the currency to try. Okay, the reason is very simple, because all of the expensive stuffs are so concentrated into the top few percentage of the skills. Like example, Race Spectre. So in Race Spectre, right, your important stuffs will probably be the all the minion skill gems and the +1 Spectral shield armors and whatever. And then your Spectral shield throw expensive stuff will be like 6 Link Lion's Eye, Vision, the shield and stuff like that. So it is very concentrated on all these very specific items that all of the other skills that require specific units and stuff, they are very, very cheap. Okay, so stuffs like Cast on Crit, Blade Vortex, Ice Shot, I don't know, I'm just giving examples, okay? Please do not follow. I'm just giving examples, like these are the things that you might want to try but you have not tried. Okay, these items are not going to be expensive. Okay, so I'm just gonna give a very brief example of what I mean. Like example, if you want to play Cast on Crit, Cosmic Malaise is one of the mandatory unique items that you need, right? So just look at Cosmic Malaise. It was 1 to 1.5 exalt last league. Look at how cheap it is now. It is just 15 chaos. Okay, if you ask me whether Cast on Crit is still playable, I'll tell you it is still playable. Okay, it is definitely still playable, but not on the mana reservation build. So you probably have to play like a Ascendant class with the full mana build, like the one that utilizes Mind Over Matter and probably Indigon, something like that. So if you are worried about Cast on Crit, you should just go for the full mana build. And this way you wouldn't have to worry. But yeah, I'm just giving an example. Cosplay Malaise is so cheap now. Buying 2 will cost you 30 chaos only, instead of last league, which buying 2 good stats Cosplay Malaise will cost you about 3 exalts or more. That is what I'm trying to deliver the message over here. Like you should. This league is actually good to play all the other stuffs that you have never tried before or you wanted to try. Okay, thank you guys for watching. That comes to the end of the second week of the meta report. Moving forward, I am not sure if I will be doing the same meta report again because this league is really very stagnant from what I see. Unless there are very interesting stuff, then I will probably be doing the 1 month meta report as well. And I will most likely change the way how I do the meta report because doing all this research and slides is very time consuming. So yeah, we have to see how it goes. Anyway, thank you for watching. Do remember to hit the like and subscribe button if you like to see more contents from me. Thank you. Bye.